No battle report this week as it is Mother's Day weekend, so not going to be able to film a game this weekend, but I still wanted to make a video, and this is actually one that I've been thinking about for a little while now. After running our first campaign, I thought it might be a cool idea, as a lot of other people are probably either, jumping into their first campaigns, or maybe their second, or relatively new to the campaign system for Trench Crusade since it's such a new game. So I thought it might be a cool idea to make this video about 4 tips for running your first Trench Crusade campaign. And it doesn't have to be your first campaign, that's just a kind of clickbaity title for YouTube's algorithm. But it could just be any campaign. These tips might help you streamline it, after us going through our first one. So the first tip is you can adjust scenario victory point scoring. I know that probably sounds really weird. Initially, you might think it's fine to roll with the scenarios exactly as they're written. I mean, why wouldn't you, But after playing through our first campaign, I can say that the scoring varies wildly from scenario to scenario. Whereas one might provide the winner a flat victory point amount, another could provide something insane, like 65 victory points. Initially you're going to think that's not problematic. Everyone's playing the same scenario each battle, so it should even out. But you have to consider the primary scoring mechanism for a campaign is the total VP scored. So, if one player is just crushing it the whole campaign, and then there's one specific battle where, the other player somehow gets 65 victory points while they only get, 3, they're pretty much just going to be dropping from the top to the very bottom, just off that one battle, which is kind of weird in a 12 battle system. So one solution that I thought of is to cap a scenario victory for campaign as 6 victory points for the win, while a loss would provide you 2 victory points, and a draw would be 1 victory point per player. Another optional little add-on is it can sometimes be neat to provide a 1 victory point bonus to players for bringing painted warbands. But that one's only for psychos like me who try to play games only where everything is painted, just because life's too short and game time is too limited for tables full of gray armies. Okay, so our second tip is to provide a catch-up mechanic. In any campaign, people will miss games at some point. It's inevitable. Life will always get in the way of us playing with our toy soldiers. Because of this, players who get all their games in will start to develop much more powerful characters because of the skills they gain from level ups. At first when I was thinking this stuff through, I was like, maybe that's what they should have, for, getting all of their games in. But it can just become sort of a problem. If it's not addressed, you run the risk that people will start dropping from the campaign after they miss a game or two, since they're going to feel like they just can't compete against the other warbands. The way that I tried to address this was through a small tweak to the rules. When either a new player joined the campaign late, or a player had missed games but wanted to rejoin, I gave them the option to start a fresh warband at the current ducat level, and allowed them to choose 2 elites to roll level ups for. That way their warband wasn't completely left behind, they had some skills. Our third tip is to try adjusting the campaign length. Now this one's going to depend on your group. Some people will want to run the full 12 battle campaign. That's what we did for our first one. And while we started with around 16 signups, by the end, we probably only consistently had, 4 or 5 or so players showing up to each game night. And this is going to be a problem with any campaign game when you do open signups instead of playing it more like a D&D game with just a set group of friends in your house or someone's house. But playing a campaign with open signups at your local game store can be an awesome way to get more people into the game. Just through that visibility, people walking into the game store or maybe playing other games are going to see it, And that's one of the primary mechanisms of getting new people into our hobby and into playing the games that we want to play, right? So also, it's just a great way to meet new friends. I met a lot of new friends from this that was, I otherwise probably would not have met them or got to play games with them. And now I get to play games, not only Trench Crusade with them, but other games too. So, it might be better to start with shorter campaigns, maybe like a 6 or an 8 battle campaign, just to try to get more players across the finish line. Okay, and our final tip, number 4, is to make it easy for players to submit game results. And this one is probably more on me, I acknowledge that, for not hounding players to submit their results every week. But by about the 5th battle, almost no one was really submitting their results. And I had set it up as a Microsoft survey type thing, so everyone could just input them. And I think that worked pretty well, but I just think it needs to be a little bit of push from the person running it. I was hoping to have all the data in a spreadsheet so I could share it and kind of do fun stuff with that data. But again, this is likely more on me for not being more proactive and reaching out about results. Admittedly, the admin side of things is usually not my favorite, so I'm not always the best guy to run a campaign or a game. And yeah, those are the 4 tips. I mean, I'm sure there's a ton more tips that could help you all. Feel free to drop those in the comments if you have tips from running your campaigns or ideas that could help others as we're all kind of getting up and running in this new game system. But hopefully these tips are helpful for you all, and I hope that they make your Trench Crusade campaign a little bit more streamlined or, a little bit more fun for everyone. So thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll have more battle reports coming soon. We'll have some hobby-related videos coming soon. I'm working on a fun samurai project with some historicals, kind of samurai in 28mm. I know that's like the number one way to make people not watch your channel is to do anything historical, but I hope that the 10 people who are into it will get a kick out of that. And if not, maybe there'll just be some cool hobby tips in there that can, transcend game systems, and people might get a kick out of that. So, yep, keep an eye out for that, and we'll have more Trench Crusade battles coming up soon as well. Cheers!